Our topic for this lesson is green economy. And by the end of the lesson, we'll get to understand what green economy is and how it is related to climate change. But before we do that, let's compare two towns in a country not too far away. Green Village and Smoke Town. For Green Village, it is actually famous for its beautiful trees, clear rivers, clean air, smiling people. They have citizens that are always happy, enjoying life one day at a time. And then birds sang in the morning while children played outside. So everything in that village is so interesting to enjoy, and the people in there enjoy their life so much. And the farmers in that town also harvested fresh crops. So the people in the town always have fresh food and healthy food to eat all the time. So the question is, what do you think is the cause of the beautiful life people have in the town? To put it simple, people in Greentown believed in the fact that they have to take care of nature. So how do they do that? Well, in their homes, they do their best to use solar panels on their rooftops as a source of power for their homes, instead of relying on other source of power that in a way could danger or destroy nature. They also planted trees whenever they cut down one. So whenever they cut down trees for maybe commercial purposes or any kind of purpose, they try their best to replace the fallen tree with a new one. And then when it comes to means of transportation, there is bicycles or shared vehicles like buses, public transport. And the purpose is to reduce the use of old smoky vehicles, with everyone having his own vehicles, polluting the environment. And when it comes to recycling of waste materials, they take that very seriously, because they know that if they leave those waste materials in the environment, it will end up polluting and destroying nature. Now, the people in this village, that is the Green Village, call their way of life the green economy. Well, why do they call it that way? They believe in the fact that as they live in the village, they must make money because they need it to survive. But at the expense of making money, they must do all they can not to destroy the environment. So their economy is called the green economy because they make money at the same time protecting the environment. What about the next town, that is the Smoke Village? The Smoke Village, however, is completely different. They have factories that run all day and all night, pumping thick smoke into the atmosphere. And when it comes to recycling of waste materials, they do not take that seriously at all. They pollute their water bodies by throwing rubbish into them. So the once clean rivers and lakes that they have turned out to be brown. And when it comes down to their trees, their forests, they do not take care of the nature at all. They cut down trees without replacing them with new ones. And when it comes to their means of transport, they use old, rusty, smoky vehicles and machines that pollute the atmosphere. So sadly, the people of Smoke Town actually make a lot of money. But unfortunately, they destroy the environment. They destroy nature. So they make money, but destroying the environment with heavy thick smoke. So plenty money, plenty pollution. And the end result is that people in that town always had problems with their health. People coughed all the time and also suffer from other illnesses. So what do you think are the possible consequences of the lifestyle of the people in Smoke Town? What do you think? And also, do you think their way of life, their style of life is actually going to affect only them, or it will affect neighboring towns as well? Well, let's see what happened. One year, something strange happened. The rains didn't come on time. The rains failed to come, and as a result, farmers in both towns were worried. Their crops were drying up. So that means their way of life wasn't affecting only them, but also the people of Green Village. The weather became very, very unpredictable. So some days were too hot, and other days brought heavy storms. So they were so worried and consulted scientists. And scientists told them that the two towns were experiencing something which is known as climate change. So the scientists explained to them that the climate change is caused by the gases from factories, cars, and burning fuels. And all of these things the scientists mentioned were actually done extensively by people of Smoke Town. So these gases trap heat in the atmosphere, thereby warming up the earth. And that is what climate change was. So it was gradually changing their atmosphere, it was gradually changing their climate, causing extensive global warming. So what was their decision? Well, it was decided that the people of Smoke Town had to change their way of life. They must save the earth, stop climate change, because their lifestyle was actually affecting the two towns. So together, people of Green Village and Smoke Town saved the world by practicing green economy. So the question is, what exactly is green economy? So green economy is defined as a type of economy that improves people's lives and creates jobs while also protecting the environment by using natural resources wisely. So if a country is practicing green economy, that means when it comes to their financial aspect, they are doing their best to improve the lives of the people by giving them jobs. But they do their best to also protect the environment by using resources wisely. So that type of economy tends to be very, very sustainable because the current generations are able to take care of themselves and the future generations are also in better position to do same. In every green economy, there are certain things they focus on. And the first one is they focus on reducing pollution. They focus on reducing pollution. And also, they do their best to use renewable energy sources like solar and wind instead of rely heavily on fossil fuel. They do not do that, but renewable sources of energy like solar and wind help a lot to preserve the environment. And when it comes to recycling used materials, they do so well to make sure they do that. Because as they recycle and try to reuse materials, they reduce the occurrence of pollution that they must actually pay so much close attention to. And then finally, they try their best to balance economic growth and environmental care. They do not focus on growing the economy and then destroying the environment, but they grow the economy and then also protect the environment. So now what do you think is the connection between green economy and climate change? Green economy versus climate change. What is the similarity or the connection? Well, we've already learned that for climate change, it has to do with harmful gases like carbon dioxide being released into the atmosphere. And these gases end up trapping heat in the atmosphere and then warming up the earth. So gradually shifting the climate we know into a more unfriendly type that is less than ideal for human life. That is what we know climate change to be. But for green economy, it focuses on reducing these gases that tend to cause climate change. So the gases that tend to cause climate change, any economy that is referred to be green economy, it does its best to reduce these gases by using clean energy and protecting nature. And when it comes to nature, we are talking mostly about the trees that serve as carbon sinks because they absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, thereby reducing the increased level of carbon dioxide that in a way tend to contribute to climate change. So when countries in the world try their best to practice green economy, together we can slow down climate change and protect life on Earth. Is there any other connection between climate change and green economy that you know of? Write that in the comment section. So, describe the relationship between green economy and climate change. Anyone that you know of that has not been touched or discussed in the video, feel free to leave it in the comment section. So, What have we studied so far? In summary, we've seen what green economy is, to mean that in a type of economy that helps people improving their lives by providing them with jobs, but at the same time protecting the environment. So there are certain things that must be done to make sure the environment is safe, using renewable sources of energies like solar and wind, and trying best not to pollute the environment, but taking care of it and protecting it. So if there is a balance between economic growth and environmental care, then we have green economy. So this brings us to the end of this lesson. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss our next lesson. See you next time.